Welcome to Presentation, Ponder, Practice. In biblical usage, a vine is almost always a grapevine. Other vine plants are referred to by their fruit, such as melons or cucumbers. Vines are noted for their foliage, intertwined branches, and trailing or climbing shoots. See Psalm 80, verse 11, or Ezekiel 19, verses 10 and 11. Fragrant blossoms, Song of Solomon chapter 2 verse 13, fruit and wine, Isaiah 65 verse 8 and Matthew 26 verse 29, bring praise to the vine. Its wood is useless, fit only for the burning, says Ezekiel 15 verses 2 through 8. Vine, vineyard, and or wine are commonly read together in Scripture. Back to the fruit itself. Grapes are grown in vineyards or in a single unit. Short flower heads grow among the new leaves in early summer, and tiny flowers develop into a cluster of round, sweet grapes of green or black color. Grapes are eaten fresh or dried, then stored as raisins. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 12. Grapes were trodden under human foot in a wine press. Nehemiah chapter 13 and verse 15. Wine was prepared from the fermented juice. The Feast of Tabernacles or Feast of Booths was also known as the Feast of the Ingathering, Exodus chapter 23 and verse 16, which included gathering in grapes. During winter, vines were pruned, leaving a few buds for the next season, John chapter 15 and verse 2. Baker Encyclopedia of the Bible includes the following remarks on grapes, saying, quote, "The grapevine of the old world sometimes assumes the characteristics of a tree with stems up to 1.5 feet in diameter and branches then being trained on a trellis and bearing bunches of grapes 10 to 12 pounds in weight, with the individual grapes the size of small plums. Bunches have been produced weighing as much as 26 pounds. The vines of the Holy Land were always renowned, both for the luxuriance of their growth and for the immense clusters of grapes they produced. Thus, it does not seem improbable that the spies sent to the promised land should have employed a pole to transport some of the clusters home. Numbers chapter 13, verses 23 and 24, ending the quote from Baker Encyclopedia. In Egypt, Joseph interpreted the dream of Pharaoh's cupbearer about 3 branches of ripe grapes on a vine. The interpretation was that the cupbearer would be released from prison in 3 days. After leaving Egypt, the Israelites complained that the land of their travel was not a place of grain or figs or vines or pomegranates, nor was there water to drink. Numbers chapter 20 and verse 5. The spies who went to spy out the land cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes at Eshcol. They had to carry it on a pole between 2 men because it was so large and heavy. Numbers chapter 13 verses 23 and 24 again. Grapes were a highly valued produce of the promised land. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 14. Another fruit mentioned in the Old Testament life is melon. Melon is a generic name for many-seeded fruit of the gourd family. Numbers chapter 11 verses 5 and 6 record some of the complaining of the people as they traveled from Mount Sinai to Kadesh Barnea. They said, "We remember the fish which we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our appetite is gone. There is nothing at all to look at except this manna." Cucumbers are from the melon family. They were mentioned in Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 8. Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 5 teaches that idolatry, the worship of man-made gods, is foolish and destructive. Idols are like a scarecrow in a cucumber field. They cannot speak and they cannot walk. They must be carried around. Jesus illustrated the relationship between himself, the grapevine, and his disciples, the branches, in John chapter 15, verses 1 through 6. We must be connected to Jesus to be fruitful and pruned for greater production while avoiding the fire of being cast out. We can prove to be valuable like grapes or useless like the wood of the vine. We can choose to rejoice in the provisions of God or complain about what we want but don't have. Complaining about God may lead to idolatry, though, which is strongly taught against in the Bible. Let's stay connected to Jesus, produce much fruit, and rejoice in the blessings of God. May God bless you.